Good morning, everyone. Here's your Mormon news update for October 2nd, 2024. First off today, let's get an update on Nemo the Mormon. From his Facebook page, he said, "I joined this church dressed in white on 2nd January 2005. It seemed fitting that I should be removed from it dressed in white too. On 30th September 2024, my membership of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was withdrawn by my stake president. Whilst this is not the outcome I wanted, I'd love to at least be able to tell you I understand the stated reasons for such a severe course of action. However, as you will soon see, the stated reasoning is not clear at all." And now let's read the letter of excommunication sent to him by his stake presidency. It says, "Dear Brother Stilgo, thank you for participating in the Membership Council on 26 September 2024. We are mindful of the physical, emotional, and spiritual engagement that this process requires, and are grateful to you and all those you invited to participate both in person and in writing. We have taken special care to review and consider all of the materials you delivered. Personal insights in the emails you shared highlight again to me the importance of building within our community a culture of authenticity and open, honest communication. This is something we've discussed many times over the years, and I would say, in principle, something on which we are largely aligned. Your ward sets a great model for this, and I believe we have made some good progress in building such a culture within our stake over the years. Having carefully and prayerfully considered the information shared with the Membership Council in response to conduct contrary to the laws and order of the Church, the decision of the Council is to withdraw your church membership for a time. This decision is not taken because you voiced concerns about the actions of the Church or disagree with its leaders. We spent several years counseling together regarding those concerns and disagreements. This decision has been taken as a result of your persistent efforts to persuade others to your point of view in opposition to the Church and its leaders. It is simply not possible to remain a member of the Church in good standing while actively seeking to lead others away from it. It is this behavior without consideration of personal circumstances or vulnerabilities which demonstrates a clear pattern of intentionally working to weaken the faith and activity of other church members. I invite you to modify your communications such so that they no longer risk harm to individuals on their journey of faith. In particular, please cease from communications outside of social media which directly and without invitation challenge the faith of the vulnerable in their personal places of worship. Building a culture of authentic, open, honest communication can only be done effectively in a spirit of love. Anger and contention can only slow our progress toward that goal. The Church is a means of sharing the Savior's love and inviting people to access the power of His atonement. I have certainly felt His love for you in our interactions, particularly in recent days. Please know that Jesus Christ stands patiently waiting for each of us. We recognize that this will be a difficult period for you and trust that you will find support from your family, friends, and ward community. If you feel that you need additional support, please reach out to your Elders Quorum President and Bishop, who can help you access professional support. I would encourage you to continue attending church meetings and activities provided your conduct is orderly. However, until you are readmitted as a church member, you may not enter the temple or wear the temple garment, exercise the priesthood, partake of the sacrament, or participate in the staining of church officers. You may not give a talk, lesson, or prayer in church settings or lead an activity in church. You may not serve in a church calling, and you may not pay tithes and offerings. Within 30 days of this letter, you may appeal the decision to the First Presidency. If you decide to appeal, a letter specifying alleged errors or unfairness in the procedure or decision should be sent to me, and I will promptly submit your letter for consideration by the First Presidency. Doug, I can honestly say that despite some of our challenging interactions, it is a privilege and blessing to know you and to be your stake president, and I look forward to that blessing continuing. Sincerely, Thames Valley Stake President, CC'd Oxford 1st Ward Bishop. And now we will go to Cody, Wyoming, where some of the locals believe that, again, the church did something underhanded. An article from Powell Tribune says, at a small private ceremony on Friday, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints broke ground on its planned Cody Temple. Some work got underway at the site last month after a judge rejected a legal challenge brought by a group of neighbors who opposed the location, but last week's event represented the formal start of construction. About 20 church members and leaders were present present, including 2 of the church's elders, first counselor in the North America Central Area Presidency Stephen Bangerter and Executive Director of the Temple Department Kevin Duncan. According to a church news release, Bangerter offered a dedicatory prayer at the site that included asking for a blessing on those in the community around the new temple. "We ask that they may feel a spirit of peace wash over them, granting them comfort and assurance that the presence of this temple will bring added joy, prosperity, beauty, and unity to their lives and their community," Bangerter said. The project has been ensnared in controversy since last year, when LDS leaders announced their intent to build the 9,950 square foot facility alongside a residential neighborhood west of the Cody Golf Course. The structure's 101-foot tower, planned nighttime lighting, and the potential traffic all drew concerns during the City of Cody's review process last year. Hundreds of area residents offered both opposition and support at a series of public meetings. Following a convoluted and contentious review process, the city's Planning and Zoning Board approved the project with a minor change related to lighting. However, both the church and a neighborhood group, Preserve Our Cody Neighborhoods, filed appeals. In late August, a district court judge ruled that regardless of whether they meant to, the Planning and Zoning Board members approved the temple's plan with no changes at their initial June 2023 meeting. Preserve Our Cody Neighborhoods is now appealing that ruling to the Wyoming Supreme Court. Meanwhile, after voluntarily holding off on construction for nearly a year, the church decided to move forward following the district court's ruling. Feelings still run hot on the subject. When the church moved some of the construction materials to the property off Skyline Drive in May, one man went to the site to protest and suggested chaining oneself to a crane. Cody Police Chief Jason Stafford said his department was notified of Friday's groundbreaking around noon, or roughly an hour and a half before it began. Stafford said the church relayed that they had their own security, but would contact police if they had any problems. "Ultimately, we didn't have any issues," Stafford said. The church moved in chairs, audio equipment, green turf, and plants for the ceremony, then removed them later in the day, making way for dirt work. On Saturday, one of the temple's most vocal critics on social media, Cody resident NJ Polly, recorded a video near the site where he charged that the groundbreaking was done sneakily. Let's watch a portion of that video.
So I think they had the groundbreaking. This is kind of historic. This will be the last times that we get to see this view, this beautiful mountain view, without that building. So I thought, we'll document this a little bit. I think they had the groundbreaking yesterday. They did it subversively. They did it sneakily. I think they told everybody it was going to be today, and then they had it yesterday. It looked to me from the pictures I saw that there was about 7 or 8 people was all there was. There was a guy giving a speech, I don't know who it was, to about 6 or 7 people is all they had. They snuck in, they did it, and then they turned around and got the heck out of here. And I think all of the remnants of it are gone now. I don't even see that the thing that they had ain't here now, unless they had it behind. They were hiding it back there. I don't know.
Of the roughly 36 temple groundbreakings that the church has hosted around the globe since 2022, Friday's appeared to be the only one where the date wasn't announced in advance and that didn't include invitations to local government officials and other dignitaries outside the church. It also featured a smaller crowd, as some of the ceremonies have included hundreds of attendees. As one example, the 2021 groundbreaking for the just completed Casper Temple was open to the media and attended by U.S. Senator John Barrasso, local lawmakers, and school officials. Church spokesman Sam Penrod said the groundbreaking in Cody was held Friday to accommodate the schedules of those in attendance. Among the local church members present were Glenn and Erica Nielsen, who donated the 4.69-acre site to the church, and Glenn's mother, Yvonne Nielsen. "It will be beautiful and peaceful and wonderful for the whole town," Yvonne Nielsen told the Church News. "The church will host an open house for the general public prior to the Cody Temple's dedication." Penrod said construction will likely take 24 to 30 months, though that's dependent on factors like the weather. The Cody Temple's design is nearly identical to the recently completed one in Casper, he said, though it will feature different decor and artwork. In the meantime, Preserve Our Cody Neighborhoods is continuing its legal challenge and efforts to relocate the temple. The group's initial brief is due to the Wyoming Supreme Court by November 12th. And now we will go to the Texas Standard for an article that says, in the late 1980s, a young detective named Ron Stallworth left his job at the Colorado Springs Police Department to take a position in Salt Lake City. Stallworth, an El Paso native, had left his stamp on Colorado. The department's youngest and first ever black detective, he impersonated a white supremacist and infiltrated the KK Klan. Now, Stallworth has written about his time in Utah in his new book, The Gangs of Zion, a black cops crusade stayed in Mormon country, where he built an anti-gang unit from scratch after discovering Crips and Bloods in Salt Lake City. This is presented in a question and answer format. Here is the first question. So we're talking the late 1980s in Salt Lake. Did anyone in the department already have an understanding of the gangs that were operating there? I know you'd been warning about it. No, they were in denial. Salt Lake City PD had a policy at the time. Their officers were not allowed to use the term gangs in police reports. They called them youth groups, community groups, anything but the word gang. I know a big part of your investigation and a big part of this book involved diving deep into the intersection of rap and gang activity. Why was that so important to you? Because I was finding out that there were white Mormon kids, weekly churchgoers, grew up in a conservative household, but they were white, who were adopting all the characteristics of the Black Crips and Bloods out of South Central LA. And when I asked them, where are you guys learning this stuff? They said, from the rap music we listen to. I said, what kind of rap? They said, gangsta rap, which was the first time I'd ever heard the term. So how long were you in Salt Lake City, and what was the gang situation like there by the time you left? I was in Salt Lake City from 1986 until I left in 2016 and moved back to El Paso. The problem increased over time and got much worse. I had to deal with people connected to the Mormon Church. I'll give you an example. The state Senate Majority Leader during this one period of time, I met him at a function, and he told me his solution to the gang problem was to authorize funding to build a juvenile detention facility in the desert west of the Great Salt Lake, to surround this facility with a 12-foot high electrified fence. And he said, then put all of these gang members in there, and he singled out Mexicans, Blacks, and Polynesian gang members, and turn on the electric current and let them have at it with their gang warfare and let the current settle the problem for Utah citizens. I thought he was making an attempt at an ill-timed terrific joke, and he said, I'm very serious. I said, you realize what you're saying is a violation of the 14th Amendment rights of due process. You can't do that, especially with juveniles. I said, that reeks of cultural elitism and racism on your part. He stared at me for a few seconds, and then he turned around, walked away, and never said another word to me. Could you say more about why you felt you were the perfect person for your job there in Utah? The underlying theme of my book, Gangs of Zion, is don't be afraid to speak truth to power. I've always been somewhat of a raise hell kind of guy when it comes to authority figures, and dealing with the problem in Utah, I had to challenge the authority figures in departments that I dealt with, and I had to let them know that this is what I believe in. This is the approach I'm willing to take, and I don't care who you are, what you're going to attempt to do to stop me. I'm pushing forward. You can come along and ride the train with me, or you can get off and get the hell out of my face. And again, speak truth to power, don't be afraid, and you can accomplish good things. And last up today, we will finish with this quote from an unknown source that says, don't allow others to gaslight you into believing that fighting for justice is divisive. And that's your update for today, folks. I absolutely hope you have the day that you deserve.